Hello! In this presentation I will speak about my current research in the central plateau of Santa Cruz, in Patagonia, Argentina. This area has abundant rock shelters where rock art has been painted. One special place where thousands of paintings can be found is La Maria. Figurative and non-figurative motifs are common, such as hand stencils, hunting scenes, guanacos, as well as lines, circles, and dots. Paintings were done with many different colors, such as red, white, black, yellow, and orange. Chemical analysis showed the use of inorganic pigments in the preparation of the paint. Some of the red paints might have been heat-treated. Besides, charcoal was identified in black and red samples. Even though no specific studies have been developed about this issue in Patagonia, it has been proposed that the incorporation of charcoal to red paints was a way of achieving the desired color. However, alternative explanations can be suggested, including the unintentional incorporation of charcoal particles to pigments during heat treatment, or through other processes such as the use of the same tools for grinding pigment and charcoal. In this poster, I present the first steps of my research to tackle this issue. I will focus on the possibility that charcoal was intentionally incorporated as a way of modifying the original color of the pigment. First, I calculated the area occupied by black particles in one of the archaeological microstratigraphies. I measured the particles and the total area of the microstratigraphy using ImageA. The space occupied by black particles in the microstratigraphy is 205 square micrometers, which is nearly 4% of the microstratigraphy. Afterwards, I designed an experimental plan. I used an igneous rock slab, which is the same type of rock on which the archaeological paints were performed. Next, I defined the painting technique. Since charcoal holding paintings were made by brushes, I decided that I was going to make lines with an industrial brush. We do not have enough information yet on the kind of brush used in the past. Then I defined the composition of the paints. I used mineral pigment, charcoal, and water. Both the red pigment and iron-rich clay, and the charcoal, made from stencils, come from La Maria and were ground separately until a fine powder was achieved. Then they were mixed. I used 4 different proportions, 5, 10, 15, and 20% of charcoal, and I also left one of the samples without charcoal as a reference of the original color of the pigment. Then I added water. I used 1 gram of mixture for every 5 milliliters of water. These are the experimental lines. The line on the right has no charcoal and the following lines gradually increase the charcoal content. The incorporation of charcoal modifies the hue of the paint, even when a small amount of charcoal is used. First, the change is subtle, but after adding 15% of charcoal, the paint becomes much darker, reaching a color which we would call brown, even if in terms of the Museo soil color chart it is a kind of red. Another consequence is that the gradual incorporation of charcoal makes the paint more watery. Finally, another important result is that in all the lines, small charcoal particles could be seen with the naked eye. As a conclusion of this first experiment, I can state that adding charcoal to the pigment changes the hue of the paint, widening the variety of colors available for the artist. However, charcoal modifies the consistency of the mixture. Since different kinds of paintings need different consistencies, the addition of charcoal may be beneficial or detrimental, depending on the techniques you are planning to apply. It might be necessary to adjust the proportion of water or to add other ingredients in order to make a suitable paint. Besides, the fact that charcoal can be seen in the paintings with the naked eye can be a useful indicator when analyzing different topics such as technique and conservation of rock art. Finally, the future steps of my experimental plan include increasing the number of samples using different pigments, different proportions of charcoal, and different grinding intensities. Later on, I plan to make a microstratigraphic analysis experimental samples and to perform heat treatment experiments. Thank you for your attention.